So I apologize for starting a few minutes late today. It's completely my mistake. So, how are you ladies?
Good.
Great.
I'm good.
Good. All right. So we have here some questions for this week's Google Hangout that I wanted to discuss, and I am leading the discussion today. All right, so, and it should be kind of easier, I think. Here's some of the questions to answer, it says, okay. Based on what we've heard thus far, why is religious freedom important? And for today's discussion, do you mind if we start with Madison? I'm just going in order of how my pictures have shown up. So we'll let Madison go, and then Shelby, you can respond, and then I'll respond.
Okay, I think religious freedom is important because religion is what plays a key role in making a person who they are. And so to have religious freedom is important because it helps people be able to express what they believe is true and protect them.
Great.
That is my final answer.
I like that very much. Thank you. Shelby, what is on that?
I liked the one video with, I think it was a professor at a college or something like that, and he was talking about a friend he was talking to, and he mentioned how it allows people of all faiths to connect on other levels. They all have these different beliefs, but because of those different beliefs, they're able to connect on what the similarities that they do have and show respect for each other for the differences that they have. So I like that. And then I think it also provides like a moral responsibility, because most religions practice righteous morals, which helps people to be better law-abiding citizens. And that same video, it talked about how it makes them not only accountable to society, but also be accountable to God. And I think that's important in a society to help have those high morals, high standards. So I think religious freedom helps provide that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. It's religious freedom is something that I think a lot of people in our country take for granted. But as we have learned, it's something we should never take for granted. And I like what you both have said, that it's our innermost personal expressions of who we are, what we believe, that we are free to act on our own conscience and express ourselves. I don't think we could ever imagine, even though we read in the Book of Mormon, what it's really like not to have freedom of religion. So that was some good first comments. What do you think it means to have special legal protection? Why does religious freedom deserve special legal protection?
Sorry. Okay. I don't feel like my answer is very good for this, so I'm really interested to hear what you ladies have to say. So to me, having like a special legal protection is to protect those in like certain situations or circumstances, whether it be health or religion or X, Y, and Z, to help them have more protection from what they're being charged for. I think it has to do with like looking more into their background and understanding where that person's coming from. And God,
Yeah, this question and then the next one, I kind of wasn't exactly sure. I couldn't put my thoughts into words, so I was interested to hear what you guys had to say too. So just adding to that, I think that religious freedom does need to, or deserve to have that special legal protection, especially right now because its rights are being infringed upon for a lot of people. So, well, it seems from what we've heard, it seems like it's quite a bit of people.
Oh yeah, it is. It's getting warm in San Diego. Sorry, I'm looking for something to put my hair up with. I don't see a clip. I think that the term special has a couple of connotations. And I think the first one is, and I wish my husband were here that I asked it with him, he's an attorney, is this, that is unique, is something that isn't going to apply to everyone. So when we have special protection with other things such as disabilities and things like that, so there's some special things, and so that's one part of it. And with that, I think there are also some special punishments when those rights are infringed on, and that's what we read about this week. That has evaporated. And in fact, did you see the church news? I think you ladies both live closer, but so we're a week away, a week delayed in getting our church news. But there was an article on the front page about Christianity and the harassment that's increasing globally. So it hasn't been like this since, you know, the early times after Christ, really. So yeah, so special legal protection. But yeah, it deserves special legal protection. All right, is there a contradiction between religious freedom and free speech? I like this question. How do you balance the two? A contradiction between religious freedom and free speech.
I hope I can communicate this in a way you ladies can understand my thoughts. So I feel that there is, and my mind went to how we need to remember just like religion and their doctrine and what the doctrine teaches, and like what people actually say and what comes out of their mouths. Sometimes I feel that people say things because they want attention, and so that's your free speech part. But when you pull that religion card, you need to look at the doctrine that that religion has. And did I say anything about balance? I think people need to be aware of that difference, and when they pull the religion card, realize that it's serious.
Special.
Yeah. Yeah, so I wasn't sure how to put this into words, and I feel like if I would have said something, it would have been along those lines. So I agree.
How to balance the two? There has to be respect. I mean, that's just the first thing. With the free speech has to come freedom of religion, where you are free. Is a speech, you know, with that amendment, that freedom of speech, is that only to say what you want, or is it also to practice what you want? That's a freedom of religion. So is there a contradiction between those two? Yeah, presently there is, because we respect people to have their freedoms and to say what they want. When we had Prop 8, and I'm really glad you guys are reading a little bit about what Prop 8 was. I'm telling you that, you know, we will never forget it. And people lost homes. They had death threats. My girlfriend in LA was very involved with the church public affairs. So her name was out there. People, even today, you guys read some of the things about, was it the Mozilla CEO had to retire, right? And a few other things like that. But that stuff, it actually still is going on. There still are consequences from Prop 8, because that's public record, what you donate to. So that is the freedom of speech. But are they able to exercise their freedom without consequence? No, they're not right now. So the balance of the two has to be that there's tolerance on the freedom of speech side to let people practice their religion. They want to say that it is prejudice and bigotry. And I stood on a corner, and a man, a college kid from down about 4 miles, we have a pretty large, one of the larger community colleges in San Diego. There's like 4 major ones, and one's just kind of our neighboring community. And he had spray painted a large plywood sign that said, "I'm a bigot, vote for Prop 8," and came and stood right by us. And it was, just like we've been reading. Gosh, what was the article last week where that, I forgot his name now, where he went from that book about the sacred duty. What was his name?
Richard.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Richard. But he said that darkness, it's so real. It's so real, and we know. I know what it is. I know you know what it is. But it was incredible. It was incredible what was going on, and we were on the street corners every single. I mean, it was just this huge intersection. We live right where there's a big street that goes down to this big, deep neighborhood where there's hundreds of homes, like, this a huge, gigantic cul-de-sac, right, with all these homes and finger streets out. And I'm on the street corner with people that oppose it, and I mean, they're screaming and screaming and screaming, and it was unbelievable. And it went on for about 2 weeks. So. Nutty stuff, guys. It was nutty. All right. How would you respond to those who accuse religions of pushing doctrine on those not of their faith?
Okay. I would honestly try and understand where that person is coming from. I would ask them what was done that made them feel that way. Have them analyze the situation they were in, like try and get them to calm down, because I could imagine that you're pretty heated when that is happening, and to see if that's really how the person pushing doctrine really was trying, if that was really what they were trying to do, or it was just how that individual had perceived it to be.
I really like that. That's a lot of what I was saying too. Something else that I mentioned was that, I'm sure there are people that push their doctrines on those not of their faith. So yeah, it happens, but I don't think that necessarily means that everyone who states what they believe, or people like the sweet old flower lady, Stutzman, I think was her name. Yes. She didn't feel comfortable providing the service for the marriage because of her beliefs. And so I don't think people like her are pushing their religion on them. And I think they're just acting based on what they believe is morally right. And they aren't acting on the fact that they want to discriminate against the person and pushing their religion on them. So, yeah, I think you have to, like Madison said, take the situation into account and help them see if it really was pushing it or if they were just doing what they believed was right, and if it was actually a situation of pushing or not.
It's always good to talk first. If any of us were having a one-on-one conversation at the local, whatever, coffee shop and talking to somebody, boy, but I'll tell you, my opinion, if they can bring up some concrete evidence, and unfortunately, I'm sure there are some that where people are cramming religion on them. What does it say? Pushing doctrine on them. But if you would like an example, that Barilla, if that was your first name, was Stutzman. What an example. Not only was that gentleman offered by 20 other flower shops, and some that would even offer to do it free for his wedding to his boyfriend, he did not want it from anybody else but her. You want to talk about pushing doctrine? There's a few other examples that we could choose. So sorry, but I would like to hear that it's gridlock. It's a tough thing. I don't see it their way. I would have to say I would have to ask them to explain it. Sorry. All right. Gosh, the last question already. What do you think it means that the laws need to curb religious expression when there is compelling government interest by the least restrictive means possible? Let's go back to, what is that? See page 109. Can somebody tell me what that is, please? I don't have, I had to get in a different room again, so I don't have my book.
How do you want me to do this? Do you want me to read you the paragraph it's in, or just?
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Okay.
And we can discuss it briefly.
So the paragraph starts, it says, religious liberty is not unlimited. The state can rightly limit when justice and the common good so require. In such cases, the limitation of religious liberty is an incidental but unavoidable and thus justified effect of the government's action to secure justice. This principle is the basis of the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act and the various state versions of the same statute. These laws require that regulations which curb religious expression serve a compelling government interest and do so by the least restrictive means possible. Does that help at all?
Yeah, would you read those last two sentences again, please?
Yeah. The principle is the basis of the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act and the various state versions of the same statute. These laws require that regulations which curb religious expression serve a compelling government interest and do so by the least restrictive means possible.
Yeah. So they're curbing religious expression. We know that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to respond to this question. I just feel like the government getting in on religion is not their place to start with. And so I think it's interesting that they want to restrict it by the least means possible. I think they're just trying to gain more control and take away more freedom. And I just think back to the videos that we watched a few weeks ago where it talked about how when the government gets big, that's bad. And to me, they're restricting and that's more power for them, and it's going to be bad.
Yeah, my answer, I pretty much reworded it, but into simpler words, made it more sense to me. So I just pretty much said that there may be times when the government does need to step in and curb religious expression, but when it is one of those times, it should be done by the least restrictive means possible. So, like Madison, I think most of the time they should kind of stay out of it, but I could understand where there may be times when they need to step in if it's against the law or something. I don't know, like human sacrifice or something like that, then I think it'd be important for them to step in. But yeah.
There was a crazy thing that happened probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't know if either of you will remember it, but they called it the Sweat Lodge deaths. And out here in Death Valley, there is this guy who said for his religion and kind of a self-awareness, and it was for pay, that people would come and he'd get these sweat lodges. Do either of you recall this? Mm-hmm. And it got so hot and it kept on steaming up and people were sweating, and they ultimately, several of them died. He just got out of prison. And but it was religious. So we had, that is clearly something that we need to have some government involvement. Like you're saying, Shelby, if there's, life or limb, There's other incidents that I think law students study when they're in law school about punishment, because there's child abuse that happens that they claim is their belief. And you guys probably have heard things like that, right? Sadly, to whip the devil out of them is still alive and well in some parts in our country. So, and there was a boy, gosh, that was probably 6 years ago, who died. And I think the minister was the one who did the whipping or something, and his mother had taken him there. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Kind of. So anyhow, so there's some times when the government needs to come in. Now, having said that, I also would, on really kind of a different position, but it's married in here, is the position of atheists, and saying that they they get out religion and making it illegal, which they are trying to do. Gosh, what is the name of that organization? I know that Reagan's son is a part of it. He donated a lot of money, but he's trying to make it, they are proposing to make it illegal to wear crosses for, people of faith to wear cover their heads and things like any expression of religion. That in itself is forcing another religion on other people. And that's another debate that we're having kind of at the state level, and probably, I don't know though, probably at the federal level. Is atheism a religion? And the answer, to my understanding, is it is, if that is their belief. Because it's, that they're trying to go out and have other people convert, and they do. They advertise, they spend money on billboards. They have emails where they celebrate when another government building takes down a nativity. They're active. They are active. So sad stuff.
That is interesting. Okay, is that our last one?
That was.
Okay, here we go. I did not do well today. So the first question we talked about was religious freedom, something. What did we talk about? The importance, okay, why religious freedom is important, right?
Yes.
And we said, I talked about how it makes us who we are. We talked about how religious freedom allows us to express ourselves. Shelby talked about it helps us connecting with others. I think it was Clay Christensen that she talked about, and how gives people more of a responsibility, and that we're accountable to society and to God. And Sarah talked about we often take religious freedom for granted, and we shouldn't. And it allows us to express ourselves, so we are grateful for religious freedom. Okay. What the second question was about what it means to have special legal protection, and it helps protect people that are unique. So religion counts as that, and religious freedom does deserve protection because it is being attacked. It is in the United States, but even more around the world. And there's special punishments for special. There's a contradiction between religious freedom and speech. We said yes, there definitely is. I talked about step back and like looking at the doctrine and what people's about that one and what they said. We have to have respect and tolerance for each other. We let people say what they want, but when they act, there are consequences, and we need to realize that. Okay, our response to pushing doctrine on others is, that's when I said to take a step back and look at the situation. Sure, there are people that push doctrine on others, but are we sure we're not, like, the person that's claiming there's doctrine being pushed, are they sure they're not the ones pushing it on the other? Who's pushing who? We talked about the floral lady Stutzman and how she was really just doing what she felt was right and true. And then curbing religion was our last topic, and we talked about how there are times that government may need to step in, but more often than not, they need to stay out of it. And definitely they need to be least restrictive when they do step in. And that is what I wrote.
Bravo, you did great.
Great.
Okay.
Those were some great points. It's good to hear our thoughts come back out. Well, good. I'm sorry, ladies, that I was a few minutes late today. I hope you're doing well.
That's okay.
So I was at a funeral today for my girlfriend. Were you on there when I mentioned that, Shelby? So, all right. How's that practicum coming, Madison?
I teach a class tomorrow. I'm so nervous, but it's going to be great.
So when do you graduate?
I'll graduate in 3 semesters. So next December.
You got your practicum in early.
That is crazy. I'm gonna practice. Oh yeah. Yeah, I still have I'll graduate in December, but I still have to do my internship. So I might do my internship, my off track, so this upcoming winter, but we'll see.
But you graduate in December?
Yeah.
Good for you. I should graduate in April. How about you,
That's
Shelby?
exciting.
I'm hoping by spring of next year I'll be done with everything.
Actually, no, I'm going to be good, hopefully. So, but I'm just right now. I've been in touch with the counselor trying to make sure I have everything. And is anybody going straight on to graduate school?
Undergraduate school?
I'm planning on it.
That'd be awesome.
That's what I was just like. That's kind of the question is I'm hearing from whatever the counselors there that that internship's pretty important for grad school and not to take those certifications, because I was kind of interested in going up to the Gottman certification up in Washington State.
Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
Do I need to be anything next week, or do you two want to be them?
I'll do notes.
I think it's my turn for be the leader discussion.
Okay, so that just got way cut out. Shelby's doing director?
No, I'll do record.
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll come back. Oh, isn't that what you said?
I don't know. Okay. We'll figure it out. So Shelby's.
I'm leading.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
You too.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.